So hey everyone, this is Mr. Clement from the SRSS teaching you exploration of graphic design. We've been learning a little bit about PIXLR and I'd like to share with you how to make a web banner. So now I've put together a little exploration of graphic design web banner in PIXLR. I would like to break this down and show you how I made this, because some of you have come up to me and said, hey, how do you make circles? How do you make that diagonal line? How can you get contrast and color in your text? All sorts of advanced things that I can share with you. And if you want to take the time to follow this video, you also could make a banner that looks like this. Now, I got this idea from the web. Okay, a lot of my ideas come from other sources. I don't copy them. I just look for inspiration. I look for ideas and then I mix ideas around. So here, I really did like how these two banners looked like and thought, well, you know what? I can make a lesson out of this and show you how to recreate this green web banner with that diagonal line. Looks quite corporate, quite nice, and really not that much effort. So here we go. This is the image that I saved, and I did view image. I right-clicked on the image to save it as, save image as. I'm going to save it to my downloads here. And blue and green, keep the original name, just save. So there it goes. I'm going to go jump back into PIXLR, and I'm going to make a new document and show you exactly how I was able to do this. So File, Open Image. I'm going to open that image I just saved. Should be in my downloads. Sometimes if you have a hard time finding where you save something, I may have threw it on the desktop. Might have to search around a bit. Let me look again. If I go to the web, there it is, save image as. I saved it to this PC, check. I'm going to send it to the desktop, save. Okay. File, open image. Blue and green web banner, open. So there it is. So I brought in that picture just for reference. And so I'm going to move that over. Bring it down. Bring this up. And I'm going to get rid of all these layers by deleting them. So you can see I had separated each thing. I'm going to delete that. Delete. So I'm working backwards, just erasing everything. So I'm starting from scratch, right? And even if I didn't have a document at all, do you want to save? No. I can go File, New Image. I'm going to call it My Web Banner. The width, I had used 1,536 pixels by 350. Click OK. There it is. So I'm ready to start. And I'm using these images as reference. So the first thing I'm going to do is bring in my image, turn it to black and white. So I have a picture of our classroom. So File, Open Image. Go to my downloads. And there's a photo of our classroom. It's going to take a moment. Here it is. Okay? So I'm going to take that photo, take the layer, drag that into my web banner file. Okay, there it is. It's much bigger. I'm going to close the original one. Make sure you're in your web banner and go to Edit, Free Transform. And that is going to allow me to scale it down. As long as I hold Shift, and I'm going to scale down, click and drag. And I'm going to position that where I want it. I'm quite happy with the way that looks. Hit enter to place. Okay, and what it's done is here in the layers, it's made a layer 0. I'm going to double click that, call it classroom. Okay, and I can provide you this picture of our classroom as well in our Google Classroom when you download this file. Keep the background locked, that's fine. Now with the classroom selected, I'm going to turn this black and white. And I can do that by going to Adjustment, Hue and Saturation, and take the saturation right out by clicking all the way to the left and dragging. And I'll play around with the lightness, darken it up a little bit. You can play with the hue as well. Those are just the colors, the original colors that the image had. Playing with levels. I can click colorize, it kind of darkens it. I like that effect, so I'm going to keep it. Click OK. And now we want to create that diagonal effect, right? So I can use my lasso tool and go to the polygonal lasso. So make sure you click here, then there. I'm going to expand this window. Zoom in by going Control plus, space bar to pan left to right here. Okay, so I've got lasso tool, polygonal lasso, and I'm going to make this angle here. I'm going to reference my original picture. There's my other original picture. Okay, the diagonal is going that way. So I'm going to just click, and that might get in my way. Once I get close to where I first started my point with polygonal lasso, I just double click to make a selection. Now I'm missing a part there, but I can get rid of that afterwards. I'm going to hit backspace. Okay, so that deleted part of my image. Control D to get rid of that selection. I'm going to zoom out again, Control minus. Use my marquee tool. Oh, I don't want the circle. I want to make sure I'm on the rectangle. And I'm going to hit backspace to get rid of part of that image. Control D to get rid of that. So this image is separate. I can move it, I can slide it around, I could bring it over here. But I'm going to hide part of that corner of the wall and just about there. That looks pretty good. I'm happy with that. Now, I can duplicate this, okay? Or I can control click on the layer. So I press control on my keyboard, click on the classroom layer, click on the new layer button, and I'm going to go and here I've already got green, but you can select any color you want. I'm going to keep the green. In fact, I'm going to go with a darker shade. Click OK. So now I'm going to use that shade of green, use the paint bucket tool, fill that with green. So I've got a layer 2 here, which I'm going to double click, call it green bar. Okay, Control D to get rid of those marching ants. I'm going to drag the green bar under the classroom. Now it looks like there's nothing there, but in fact, it's just the picture above the green. So it's those two layers, one on top of the other. So as soon as I pull the green out, you'll see it reveal. I'm just going to use my arrow keys. And Shift will move it increments of 10 pixels. I'm going to make a fairly bold green bar. And I'm happy with that. Now, to give it that kind of cool effect with the shadow, the inner shadow, what I do is I just click on my Layer Style button at the bottom of the Layers panel. Click that. I'm going to check off inner shadow and make sure to click on the inner shadow name to edit any of that shadow. Okay, so I can make it further in distance. The size of the shadow can be bigger, so it's more blurred, which I kind of like. Opacity is how dark it is or how light. You don't want to go too much, but enough to recognize that there's a shadow. Change the angle. You can change the color of the shadow. I'm happy with this. I'm going to click OK. So that's good. So I've got part of that banner completed already. Now I'm ready to do some text on the left. I'm going to use the text tool. So it looks like an A, type tool, and just simply click. And I'm going to type exploration. Exploration. In fact, I want it all caps. So caps lock, exploration of. I don't want that to be green. So I'm going to change the color to like a dark gray. Okay. Maybe a little lighter. Click OK. That applies it. The size of the text, I can make it a bit bigger. I can make it huge, or I don't want it that big. Maybe 45. Play around. 45 looks good. Click OK. And now to make a separate box with a different color, because exploration of, I want that gray, and then graphic design, I'd like it to be green. So I'm going to duplicate exploration of, right click on the layer, duplicate the layer, and now what happened is just duplicated the same thing on top of itself. Use your move tool or your arrow keys and watch. I can just hit right arrow key. If I hold shift again while doing that, it'll move it over. And to edit that, I need to go back to my type tool, click on the text, and then here I'll type in graphic design. Caps lock again, graphic. Same font, I'll just change the color. And I can even go outside of that color selector and click a shade of this green here. I might go with a bit of a darker green like that. Click OK and edit this G, that's lowercase g. Turn off caps lock. Click OK. So I've got the title there. I've got my image. As you work in Illustrator, as you work in PIXLR, you want to constantly save. So this would be a good time to save. So go File, Save. Instead of JPEG, select PXD. And it's called My Web Banner. So I click OK. And I'm going to put this into my Google Drive. Graphic design, web banner. And I'm going to save this as My Web Banner video file. Save. Cool. Now I'm going to continue working with the type tool. Just click beneath that. And I'm going to type a little bit about our course here. So exploration of graphic design is a course offered to explore all of the info science classes at the SRSS in Steinbach. I could add a little more. I'm going to adjust the size of this text by clicking here, and 25 is a nice size. And I can just copy this and duplicate it. You can write anything you'd like in the description here. I'm going to click on the outside, hit enter to hit return. I'm going to go Control V. So it's the same thing being repeated. Now if I want the color to be the same gray as my Exploration of Graphic Design title, I can use the eyedropper tool to select the same gray. And I click OK. Click OK. I can use my move tool to move the text around. So I usually like to align it with the title. So I use the arrow keys. I'm going to drop it down a bit, give it some space. And the final thing too is to add those three little icons, those three little circles. I'm going to use my marquee tool and go to the elliptical marquee. And that will allow me to make circles. So I'm just going to make a circle there. Although I noticed that I need to make an extra layer for that. So I'm going to hit Control D to deselect. I'm going to make a new layer, call it green circle. And then I'll repeat those steps. The marquee tool, elliptical marquee, and make a circle. That's good. Use the paintbrush or paint bucket tool, fill it with the same green. Control D to get rid of the marching ants. Use the move tool to line it up. And again, because I have that green circle, I want it repeated 3 times. So I just duplicated twice. Duplicate the layer. And I can use my right arrow key and shift, move it. Do the same thing. Duplicate, hold shift, use the right key on your keyboard and click 2-3 times. And we've got those 3 dots. And I believe now our banner looks similar to the one that I found online. So there you go. We've got a shadow, we've got the title, we've got the text, we've got the icons for the little logos. You can add your own flair, your own colors, your own style to this, but this is a quick way to make a professional looking banner in PIXLR. So make sure to save it and share it with me. All the best. Take care.